He'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Welcome to another edition of the Service Guys podcast. I am your co-host and producer, Ruel Abadam, and on the other line, we have our resident service professional, Lonnie Beecham, over at Jefferson City, Missouri, who operates Restore It Restoration. What's up, Lonnie?
Hey, not much. Just sitting here taking a break for the rest of the day. Unless I get a phone call. That's just how I live. That's how I roll. As of right now, though, I have no official work duties.
That's good, because as of at the time of this recording, it's a Friday, and that's a good time to not have official duties. Just kind of, chill and recover from all the activity of the week.
Right. So we haven't done this in a while.
So what's new in your world?
Well, today's a bittersweet day.
Why?
Because today was my mom's last chemo visit locally. And so that's good. As of last Friday, Friday, June 4th, we found out Mom, the biggest tumor that she has is the only thing that's lighting up, and it was barely lighting up on the PET scan. So that sounds wonderful. But now we're looking at, taking her to stem cells. I mean, she had to go through one more chemo treatment. So theoretically, she should be cancer-free, because she was so close that they almost didn't make her do her final cycle of chemo. And that is wonderful. That is so awesome, because initially she had six cycles of what they, the standard of care, what they call CHOP. And I don't know what CHOP stands for. But anyway, it wasn't working. I mean, we got 2/3 of the way through. Everything was looking great. They did a PET scan, saw that, her tumor, her biggest tumor had shrunk by 75%. We're like, wow, we're 75% shrunk, and we're 75% of the way, or whatever, 4/6 of the way through, and we're like, wow, that's awesome. They're like, no, it doesn't work like that. So then they had to change up her chemo cocktail. That was went from every three weeks to 2 Fridays on, 1 Friday off, 2 Fridays on, 1 Friday off. So that was supposed to go 8 cycles like that. So 24 weeks, which is right at 6 months. And, so that was kind of demoralizing. Like one day, hey, you got a 75% reduction in your tumor. Awesome. And then when the doctor translates it to you, then it's like, they thought that if she would have stayed on the standard of care, her tumor would have shrunk from 75% reduction to maybe an 85% reduction, which wasn't, obviously you want 100% reduction. So they changed up her cocktail, and we changed up our schedules and accommodated getting Mom to her treatment. And then supposed to be 8 cycles, and then they ran a PET scan to kind of see where she's at, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, awesome news. We're not even, we're contemplating. We're working with a specialist in St. Louis. So our local doctor wanted to get her input to see if it's even worth having her do one more cycle. So we just completed that today.
That's awesome.
Now we are moving things around for getting Mom to stem cell transplant in St. Louis at the Barnes Jewish Hospital at the Sighton Center. And in fact, one of our NSNG friends offered me me and my mom, a place to stay at her house in Houston if we wanted to get her to MD Anderson. But Mom's type of cancer is angioimmune. I don't even know what it is. Anyway, when you look it up, there's only 2 doctors that kind of specialize in this. One's in Seattle and the other one's in St. Louis, Missouri, which is only 2.5 hours one way from my house. So, so that's kind of where we're at. It's like, even the big dog, MD Anderson, doesn't even specialize in mom's particular type of cancer because it's just so rare. And, so now we're gauging or, trying to move logistics around getting family in town and to, sit with mom for a week. And then, I keep saying Ronald McDonald House. It's called the Hope House, but, she needs 24-hour around the clock care for her safety for a week. And so now we're just trying to move logistics around to make that happen. And then now we're looking at rolling her straight from that straight into stem cell transplant, which is great for the people that work, but man, is it a hurdle to get over. I mean, it's a big hurdle.
Wow. Wow.
The doctor said, if she doesn't pursue the stem cell transplant, then her type of cancer is so aggressive that the best stats that he has and is that within 6 to 12 months, she'll be back on chemo. And after the standard of care chemo treatment that she's had, they say it takes 6 to 12 months to recuperate from it. So the quality of life, if she doesn't do the stem cell, is pretty meager and bleak and pitiful, to be honest with you. If she does the stem cell transplant, then they tell us the stats are 3 to 5% of the chemo or of the patients die the very first day because they give them such a the highest level known to man's worth of chemo, and the standard of care that mom was getting apparently was a pretty low rung level of chemo, and it almost killed her. So just a thought of like, hey, we're going to zap you with the biggest dose, knowing that, that first day could be the very last day of my mom being on earth with us. It's kind of heavy. Then then they say like 25% of the people, I forgot to tell you, the whole stem cell transplant thing, one of the biggest hurdles is I literally got to take my mom to St. Louis, kind of drop her off and come back in 2 months. And, she'll be going in the middle of July and getting out in the middle of September after I turned 44. And so while she's there in that 2 months, they put you right at the brink of death with 0 white blood cells. And, they just put you right on the edge of dying. And so when you have 0 white blood cells, you're more susceptible to any kind of infection. So 25% of the patients die just when their family comes to see them. Something that you and I might blow our nose once or twice for could literally be a death sentence to not even my mom, but I mean, everybody in there. And and then, you sit there and think that, your mom's in this place for 2 months. Well, three to 8 weeks. So, I mean, it could be a quick bang, bang, bang in and out thing, or it could be a long drawn out process. Then go through all this, and there's about a 40 to maybe 50% chance that's even going to work. And if it does work, she'll be back on chemo again with the best stats that they have. It's very discouraging when you're talking to the specialists and they straight up tell you that this is so rare that there are no, the stats are almost non-existent. So you're just literally every day just like, wow, am I making the best decision? Should we do something different? Should we even mess with it? Should we just, finalize our affairs and say our goodbyes and just sit and wait? But if she does the stem cell and it is successful, then they say within 2 to 3 years, she'll be back on chemo again. We've since learned that, you always hear about, the 5-year benchmark for, remission on cancer and stuff. and you've gone through this with your mother-in-law and stuff. They say if you have to go back on chemo within the first 5 years, it's almost always an automatic increase of level of chemo that you received versus last time. And as a son sitting here watching his mom go through this, it's like, wow. I mean, she's not doing good on the lower level, and to think she's about to get some nuclear level, I don't know how else to describe it. And then to think that within 5 years, they say it's almost a guarantee that she'll be back on chemo within 5 years. And it's like, wow, what do you do? And then one thing that I hear every day, and I can't stand this statement anymore, but they all say the same thing, but everybody's different. It's like, I get it. I get it. The doctor told us the very first day that, certain cancers, I can tell you that, 95% of the people will do this and 5% of the people will do that. He don't know if you're the 5% or the 95%, but he just knows you put everybody's stats up on the wall. 95% of the people fall in this category, 5% fall in this category. And he's like, we don't have stats like that for yours at all. Wow, nice. And then mom turns to me all the time, almost every day, crying. What do I do? What do you think I should do, Lonnie? Should I do the stem cells, or should I just ride it out and just go, to hospice? And it's like, Mom, I can't answer that question. All I can do is just tell her the truth. There's no right or wrong answer. And all I can do is support you and make whatever your decision is, just make it happen. And if that means me spending the first week in a hotel or Ronald McDonald House or whatever with my mom, so be it. If it's me and my wife taking turns, so be it. Looks like my brother Trey, I keep hearing that he's coming in to do that, but don't know that for a fact. Just kind of like, what do you do? What do you tell your mom that, that she's crying again?
So what was the option where she could be in remission for 5 years and then until it comes back on?
Well, with hers, they guarantee that she will be back on chemo within 5 years.
Okay.
There is no
that's without
cancer-free option.
That's with or without the stem cell?
Both.
Okay.
If she does stem cells, the best they can assume, but everybody's different, is that it will buy time for 2, maybe 3 years before she's back on the chemo pump.
But there's also a risk of infection and complications as a result of that treatment.
Yes. Yeah. From the moment you walk into the stem cell transplant scenario, it's scary every day.
So you may minimize or you may reduce the estimated 5 years of reoccurrence.
Say that again.
So if you opt for stem cell, it'll either add 2 years to the estimated 5 years, or it'll
No.
No?
That's what I thought you said. No. If she does the stem cell, at best, she's buying 2 to 3 years from now.
Gotcha.
The only guarantee they have given us is that with her type of cancer, no matter which option she goes with, they say it's a 95% chance that she will be back on chemo short of 5 years. Okay. So no, it's not adding 2 years to the 5. It's, from where we're at, it's literally sometime between, what is this now, June? So it's sometime between December and next June. If she doesn't do stem cells, she'll be back on chemo in by June of 2020. Or if she does the stem cells and she survives and everything does work, she'll be back on chemo. What is this, 19th? So sometime between the year 2021 and 2022.
What if she didn't hop into stem cell right away? Is that an option? Say maybe give it a year or give it 2 years.
No, it's either do or die, literally do or die. If she doesn't do stem cells now, well, she has like a month or two window before she has to decide on stem cells. But
why is there a window?
That I don't know. Her cancer is so aggressive that from the time she was diagnosed, by the time they found the cancer was in December, and by the time we got through all the hoops and everything, got into the medical system and the oncology department and all that, her tumor had grown 1 centimeter within 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh shit! Okay.
And they say in the tumor world, a 1 centimeter tumor is big. Now and hers, in December was at 6 centimeters, and in January it had already grown to 7 centimeters. And now they said that's not the biggest number they've ever seen. They said they've seen 10 and 12 centimeter tumors on people coming in, but and I have no idea how to conceptualize a centimeter. Maybe Mark Thompson could help us, like give us a visual, like go look at a pea, or one green pea is a centimeter. I don't know. I know, you know what I mean. I don't know how to describe or visualize a centimeter. But hers is that aggressive. Out of all the cancers, less than 1% of the population has her type of cancer.
Wow. Yeah.
Good times, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great times. Yeah.
Yeah, and I spoke to another friend of ours. I can tell you offline, but a friend of mine. I think, when did I talk to her? Sunday. I think it was just this past Sunday, Saturday or Sunday. Anyway, there's a lot of people in the group that reach out like on a regular basis, call or text or reach out and let you know that, they're thinking of you and, asking what they can do to help. And very touching.
I mean, there's all of these hard decisions to be made, and there's no guarantee. But you make a decision, you pray on it, you take a leap of faith. If it were my family, right? My feeling would be like, what do you have to lose since you're already basically throwing everything in the kitchen sink at a nuclear level at yourself? What do you have to lose if you just also try to starve the son of a bitch, by, approaching the whole ketogenic sort of starve to cancer approach, Has that ever come up,
Well, yes, many times, but as our friend Vinny says, family don't listen to you. I mean, she'll listen to me if I want to talk about mold stuff or water damage or whatever, but and I've had conversations with her in the room with the doctor about ketogenic diets and stuff like that. But one thing I can guarantee you, when you're on chemo, you're already in ketosis because you're just not eating. Mom has zero appetite. And if she would eat, like I've literally watched her not eat for 2 days, eat half a cup of yogurt, and she's full, and she feels like she just ate a Thanksgiving dinner, and it hurts for her to eat. It hurts for her to eat, and then she's hungry when she doesn't eat. So it's it's like, what do you do, Mom? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Good times, but not.
Yep. But when you're the one that's been doing it day in and day out, and you've seen all the positive and all the great and glorious things, and then you also get my mother does not know 99% of the stuff I've done, because it would just stress her out, and she already feels like a burden, and stuff like that. But dealing with the business side of life. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's like, yeah, it's like, I'd be so pissed off. It's like, you know what, you or like your loved ones, put themselves on so much that if you can increase your chances of any sort of improvement, or increase the sustaining of it and improvement by just deciding to not eat some things and encourage eating other things. At some point, when you can get your appetite back, I'd be like, I'm going to do everything I can to try and hold on to those gains. If it meant changing how I eat, because it's like, I don't want to go through it again. I don't want the loved one to go through a reoccurrence. Almost like lay down the law,
Well, at this point, we're both, Mom and I and my wife, are looking at quality of life over quantity of life. I'm good with whatever decision she makes. If she wants to go through stem cell and she makes it through, I'm good. If she lives another 10 years, I'm good. If she was to pass within the next month, I'm good there too, because I have not seen a quality of life since December, and seeing what I'm seeing, even if she, they say right now, where she's at this point, 6 to 12 months from now is how long it's going to take for her to even recoup and be able to get the feelings back in her hands. She can't hardly walk. She's barely able to open up anything for herself, water bottles or anything. She's literally kind of dependent whenever I show up. I feel bad because I'm, running a business. I'm running a family. I'm a dad. I'm a lot of other things besides a caregiver. And so, I'll sit with my mom for 20, 30 minutes, or whatever time I have. Sometimes it's only 10 minutes, but I'll sit with her and we'll talk and we'll, visit and catch up on the girls, or bring the girls over and my wife and, stuff like that. But then I have to go open up water bottles and insure bottles and buy her groceries and make sure whatever we're whatever she's eating, it has to be opened. And so like right now she lives on frosted mini wheats and Ensure. I have to open up 24 bottles of Ensure every time I go over there. Have to go buy her the mini wheats. She's so weak she can't even open up that little plastic bag inside the cereal box. And
do you remember before the diagnosis how she was? How was her quality of life leading up to figuring out that she had cancer?
Well, her quality of life has been pretty bleak and miserable for quite a while, to be honest with you, because her type of cancer, she has all right, so let me back up. She has a form of T-cell lymphoma, and I can't pronounce the name. Even whenever I read it, I can't pronounce it. And lymphoma is a catch-all name, okay? It's like saying the Major League Baseball. How many baseball teams are there? You know what I mean? Lymphoma, there's about 60 to 80 types of lymphoma, and she just has the rarest of the rarer forms of it. So her cancer looking back, all the doctors, her primary care doctor, everybody is saying, wow, I don't know if I told you, but for like 2 years, she lived with 24/7 itchy, burny hives. And I mean, her face, her arms, her legs, her feet, her everything itched 24/7. That was actually the cancer manifesting. So for the last 2.5 years, I have not known a healthy mom. All I've known is, the mom, I'll wake up to 12 pictures of the same. They look the same to me as the same as yesterday and the same before and the same that'll come tomorrow. She was sending me all these pictures of hives. Look, they're on my legs, they're on my arms, they're on my back. That's all I've actually known of my mom for the last 2.5 years is basically cancer. But it was her type, her type of lymphoma. Most types of lymphomas kind of start manifesting as uncontrollable and no reason hives. And her doctor wasn't catching it. And I don't know if he missed it or didn't know or what, but I mean, so for the last 2 years, my mom's been on like a self-preservation diet of a low histamine diet, cutting out. I mean, my mother has for 2 years, lived on sweet potatoes and yogurt. That's all she's eaten, because if she eats anything else, she would break out in hives. When she thought it was like, well, I got hives for whatever reason. And there is a thing, and I don't know the medical term for hives, but there is a medical condition out there. Just basically, it's they call it idiopathic ulceracea, I think maybe. It's basically hives of an unknown origin, and she's lived with that for 2 years. And almost every day for 2 years, I mean, I'd go see her and look, or she'd raise her shirt. Do you see anything on my back? And that's what I've lived with. Or she'd take pictures and text them to me. And well, what a text photo of your arm, could you imagine looking at that every day? It's like, looks just like the one yesterday and the one that'll come tomorrow.
So does it like, it flares up, then it goes away, or is it just constant flare mode?
It was for the past 2 years. It's been almost constant. She would have days or weeks, but never months without hives. So every time she would go through one of these quote unquote dry spells, she was like, well, see, and all I'm eating is sweet potatoes, so that's what I'm eating now, sweet potatoes 24/7. And then she's reading online and taking out spices, paprika, pepper. I mean, she took out salt because she was also swelling. Her cancer, by the time she was diagnosed, it had started in one lymph node near her hepatic artery that also sits on or near or around something to do with the pancreas. So at first they were kind of thinking pancreatic cancer. But it had, by the time it really started flaring up and got to the point where it was hurting, it had spread. She was already, diagnosed at stage 4, and that's the that's the norm for her type of cancer. It was above and below her diaphragm. Every one of her lymph nodes throughout her whole body was eaten with cancer. It had spread to her bone marrow and her skin. And that's why her skin was inflamed, basically, was because of cancer. And it was showing up as these weird, itchy, burny hives for like 2 years.
Wow.
Makes you feel good, doesn't it?
So right now she's just sort of worn out from the treatment, and
she is hive-free, though.
Yeah, and she can hopefully get back her strength, and hopefully she can decide to just eat a greater variety of food, because now she understands that none of the food that she was eating was really contributing to her hive breakout.
No,
that's not true.
No. In her mind, I mean, you got to think, for like 2 years, she lived with these hives. So she has tried to branch out during her chemo treatments. She has tried to branch out. The doctor has told her every visit. I mean, Mom was like, I can show you pictures and look at my hives. And well, at this point, if my mother gets a red spot on her arm, she calls that a hive. Hives typically look like kind of like a mosquito bite. They're kind of inflamed, or, it's raised a little bit and it itches, right? Well, she'll get a red spot. It won't itch, won't burn, she'll just see it. And she calls that a hive. So if she, like bananas are a high histamine food, and she cut those out ages ago, and she tried to have a banana, just a simple banana, right? And she got a red spot on her arm. Nope, can't eat those. See, I got hives. And it's like, and I'm trying to be diplomatic. I'm trying to be polite. I'm trying to, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I would ask her, I said, well, Mom, is it itching? No, but I got hives. I said, but is it burning? No, but I got hives. But is it itching and burning? No, but I got hives. I was like, okay, Mom, I mean, what do you do? No bananas. Okay. I mean, in her mind, she lived with that 24/7. She was dealing with the public, going in the hair salon. So, every day her customers would come in and like, wow, you're looking better than the last time I saw you. Or like, whoa, wow, you're looking worse than the last time I saw you. That was her topic of conversation every day. Every day was hives. How bad does she look versus this time versus last time? And they would joke, well, hopefully you look better the next time I see you. I mean, could you imagine cutting somebody's hair and that was your topic of conversation a month ago, and it's still the same topic today, and do that every day for 2 years? So, yeah, it's been quite the ride, quite the journey. Journey is a word I absolutely detest, but that's what this is, man.
Yeah. So you get an opportunity to pick your own like there's no ideal scenario. You just have to pick which of the scenarios you can
which are the least bad options,
that you can live with,
yeah And all I tell her every day is, Mom, I can't decide. I mean, I can't decide if do you want to go through all this? I mean, there's risks of going through the stem cells. There's obvious risks not going through the stem cells. There's, my mother broke down in tears in the attorney's office a couple weeks ago, because I went with her since I'm her financial power of attorney and medical power of attorney and legal representative with social services. I mean, my name is tied to everything with her, right? So the attorney asked some question that I knew I had the answer to, but it was in a file. So I pulled out that particular file, and it's literally 3 inches thick. And she says, is that all my stuff? I said, no, that's just that particular subject, social services. She goes, wow, I had no clue on it. I said, yeah, this is my week. I get 6 to 10 mailers every week from social services. And one letter is talking about to lose your Medicaid in the future and have to pay back everything because, she moved out of her house, to how much she's getting in food stamps versus how much she has in spend down versus, so whatever. I don't remember what the attorney asked me. And I said, well, let me pull that file. And then she saw that and she cried. She's like, I had no idea. I said, Mom, this is the stuff I haven't told you about that I just do. I've my job is to let you just get better, and I'll take care of the business side of life. It's just what I got to do. But yeah, she cried and I didn't cry, but I wanted to. But yeah, what do you do? I said, Mom, this is just what I do every day. I call the social services office 3 to 5 times a week, every week. And then it doesn't help that I was getting some real nasty grams from them So they tell you like any change in your situation, to let them know within 10 days. So if you move, let them know in 10 days. If you sell your house, let them know within 10 days. If you buy a new car, let them know within 10 days. If you, whatever happens, let them know within 10 days, right? So Mom moved out of her house May 6th, and I let them know. Well, that was May 6th. So May 12th, I started getting letters saying, oh, well, your house, you now have all this money at your disposal. You're going to lose your Medicaid. And we're like, what? I literally just moved her out last week. I hadn't even packed her house. I hadn't done nothing. We're like, yeah, you got until June 3rd to have the house sold, or have it listed, or have it or have a trust put in place, or something. We're like, wait, literally just 6 days ago, I just moved my mom out, and so unfortunately we had a tornado right in the middle of all this. So the office that I was going in, there's certain time sensitive information that you got to get something in by June 14th. Okay, so there's once a week or more, I go by and I submit what I got to submit, and they make a copy, and then they give me their special little stamps as received Department of Family Social Services, or whatever it says. So, well, my social services office got blown away in the tornado a couple weeks ago. So it's like I'm getting these nasty grams. Well, the closest office that I have is 25, 30 miles north of me. And I'm getting these things they're like, you got to submit this by such and such date. And it's like, I guess I'm driving up there. So that's an hour on the road and 30 minutes there. It's like just an hour and a half, just like that. Bam. So anyway, how you doing?
I'm great, man. This is
so you want to hear
go ahead.
You want to talk about dead animals or mold, or you want to talk about something a little more lively and less depressing and miserable, or what?
Dead animal sounds lively as.
Well, I texted you a picture. What was that, 2-3 weeks ago? Like the nastiest photo. The nastiest dead animal I've ever retrieved. And the funny thing is, so I got an animal control friend. He deals with more living animals, and I deal with more dead animals. But we do kind of, well, I don't deal with living animals unless I have to. If I'm in a crawl space and it's me or the critter under the house, I'm going to kill that thing if I can. But I typically just run and scurry out on my belly and like, please don't bite me, please don't bite me, please don't bite me. So anyway, I don't deal with living animals any more than I have to. But he will retrieve dead animals from time to time. But he was slaying me. He's like, hey, you want an easy layup? I'm like, sure, I love easy money. So I go to some federal office, and they're using a triple wide trailer as an office. And so it's pretty easy. You just unscrew I got out of my van and I was like, oh, yeah, they got a dead animal and it's close. And sure enough, I had to pull off like 6 panels under a trailer. And every time I pulled one off, it's like there was a tire with an axle right there. I was like, well, I can't get through there. And so I'd go over 3 or 4 little slats, pull that one off. It was like, oh, there's a pile of bricks right there. Can't get through there. Went over another spot and pulled that one off. And there's like a bunch of plumbing pipes. And it's like, oh, crap. I mean, can I even get in here? So finally I found one. I pull it off. And I'm like, well, that's not very big, but I'm tired of pulling this thing apart and putting it back together. So I just wedge in there and I crawl in and see all these flies. I'm like, well, that's where I'm going. And I get over there, man, and that thing was nasty. And they hear me, the people are outside under the trailer. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's bad. And they're like, that's bad. I'm like, I just couldn't control it. I just yelled. I was like, wow, it says a lot when a guy like me is saying that's gross. And sure enough, it was gross. We pulled it out. course, they all had to take pictures of it. I did too. had to take a video of it. And in that video that I sent you, that the guy's like, he started to say, since you're an expert, and I was like, I'm not an expert in shit. I just retrieve dead animals. And he went on to ask me, well, how long do you think this thing has been down there and dead? I was like, I don't know, but this is bad. The biggest maggots I've ever seen in my life. It was gross. It was nasty. But I paid. I went on, threw it in my van, had to drive that one all the way home because it was so far out in the middle of nowhere that I didn't have a gas station to throw the dead animal in.
Okay, and then so what do you keep it sort of in an airtight container as you transport it? I imagine that's what you do.
This thing is so big that I just had to put it in a trash bag, and of course I had to take it home, and it just so happens I was needing to pick up one of my daughters, and it was funny. She barely got up to my van. She's like, "Dad, what is that?" And
oh no!
Bad, but I just had to pick her up real fast and then run her like 3 blocks over, and she's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's a dead animal." She's like, "Oh, can I see?" So as soon as we got home, she wanted to see it, and then she's like, "Whoa, that is gross." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's bad." And I've been smelling it for 30 miles now, and then dropped her off, got her situated where I needed to get her, and then I went to my dumpster over here at the office and threw it in there, and then everybody around was like, "What did you put in there?" It was bad. It was horrible.
So you're driving with like a mask on, right? Or are you just like,
no, I just cracked the windows and I just drove, dealt with it, but it was kind of funny. I liked it. It doesn't. It was gross.
I liked it. I like it.
But it is what it is, And I had more flies in my van than I ever had. It was gross, man.
Did you eat any?
Did
your daughter eat any?
No, there was no eating of this one. Although, if you wanted maggot stew, we could have. It was definitely a maggot stew.
They were like all lodged in the thing, just keeping it pulsating and squirming.
Oh, it was disgusting. But so yesterday though, I get called to this large church building, right? Because they got a dead animal, and so whenever I go into a job like this, actually when I go into any mold or water damage or dead animal job or whatever job I'm going into, I'm kind of keyed in to notice smells, whatever they are, good, bad, ugly, moldy, rotted, whatever it is. So as soon as I walk in, it's like, yeah, I smell a foul smell, but it wasn't like, oh wow, what died in here kind of foul, So then I walk in further and it's like, oh yeah, it's stronger, but it wasn't super foul, but it was definitely pungent, right? So I'm on site. I'm on site for just a touch over an hour. And the guy that called me, he's like, man, this is so weird because 1 minute we'll smell this dead animal in this office, and 10 minutes later we'll smell it in this office, and 10 minutes later we won't smell it at all. And then and that's exactly what I was seeing. I was literally walking around this church yesterday. I asked them, I said, do you have coffee grounds? And they're like, well, yeah, we got coffee somewhere. Let's go find it. I was like, please. And they're like, are you needing some coffee? I'm like, well, I would love a cup, yes, but you don't need to brew a special pot for me, And they were like, well, what are you doing with the smell, the coffee? And I said, well, I need to. The building was so large that, anytime you're dealing with an odor, the longer you're smelling it, you get acclimated to it. It's kind of like when you fart in your own van, And, you smell your own fart, but then you don't smell it anymore. Well, did it go away or does it still stink? Who knows? So kind of the same thing, So typically like in a house, so if you got a dead animal in your house, and I know I'm close, but sometimes I literally will walk out your front door, just stand outside for a minute and just kind of clear my nose, and come back in, right? And well, this place was so big that I couldn't do that. By the time I would get back to where I thought I smelled it, I would have already been desensitized and acclimated to that smell. So I said, well, this coffee grounds, it's great to, just smell that, so that whenever you do get to an area that you want to check out the smell for, then, you have a fresh nose. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. I was like, yeah, think about when you buy perfume or cologne or whatever at Dillard's or wherever you buy your cologne. They always have a jar of coffee beans or something out there, so that, one smell starts smelling like the others and you get desensitized. So I was doing this for about an hour and a half yesterday, and chasing this thing. I mean, I'd smell it in this office, and then I'd start looking at my normal places, and nothing all day long, or for 2 hours. And anyway, you know what it turned out to be? And I even asked this guy on the phone. I was like, do you have a basement? Do you have an attic? He goes, yeah, we got an attic. We've been up there. We don't smell nothing. I said, okay, what about your basement? He's like, well, nobody's been down there for ages. And we got a maintenance crew. They clean up. And I'm like, okay. So it turns out in the basement of this church, and this is a large church, just the office section of this church was 80 by 40. I mean, that's a big building. And it's chopped up and it's a maze. I mean, I actually had to have an escort to find my way through the building, because I was finding corridors I hadn't even seen, and I'd already been down this hall and thought I saw everything. I was like, whoa, there's another whole office that goes somewhere else, right? So I'm like, we've gone everywhere. We've opened up every one of your HVAC systems. We've looked in all the obvious places. We haven't been to the basement. He goes, well, I guess, but it's waste your time. Well, we open up the stairwell and step in, and it's like, oh, something's dead. And we just walked down, and it got worse and worse and worse. Turned out it was some rotted blue cheese dressing.
But
in their basement.
Oh, nice. Like a bottle of dressing.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like somebody had the salad or something. And so it had been there for a while. So I don't know if it was ranch dressing or blue cheese dressing or with blue cheese crumples, but I think there was blue cheese crumples. But yeah, that stunk up the whole building, and It put me on a goose chase for a long time. And I was scratching my head, and I was sitting there like, I don't know what to do. And in fact, I even told him, it's like, look, I'm here. I told you on the phone that, I don't make any guarantees. We're talking God's creature. All they need is a pinky, and they can get into anything. The only guarantee I can make is that I'll do everything I can to find it, but here's my time and here's what I charge. And, I did tell them, like, I am fine, find it or not, you do get a bill. So anyway, and they're good with that. And I touched base with them today. I was like, hey, so was it the blue cheese? He goes, yes. I'm so embarrassed, but
it was his blue cheese.
I don't know whose blue cheese. Nobody's owning up to that one.
Well, it's the maintenance guys, right?
That does make
me. The maintenance guys are the ones that they said go down there.
Yeah, there's somebody, facilities cleanup crew. Oh, I know what I was starting to say. I kind of lost my train of thought. So, like, I'm like, I'm here, but I said, I need some help. I said, it's a scientific fact. Women have a better sense of smell than a man. Do you have any lady on staff that would come and just help us sniff this thing out? Because I wanted to find the challenge, And I was like, yeah, we'll get Amy over here. So Amy shows up, got to meet her, and she's like, oh, it smells so foul. And we're like, me and the two guys were like, what do you think it smells like? Because we weren't smelling nothing. It didn't stink to us at that point, but she's like, right here, something's dead right here. And yeah, nothing was checking out. Nothing was stinking. And then she's like, no, I don't even smell it anymore. Like, see? And I'm like, well, go over here in this wing. Tell me. Oh yeah, it's right here. Okay. And then what about over here? And we just walked her around, and yeah, finally, yes, turned out blue cheese dressing in the basement.
Oh, that's awesome. She's got a pro's nose.
Yep. And I feel bad because I did ask him, has anybody been in the basement to see what it smells like? No, but nobody's been down there in a couple of weeks. Okay. I mean, it's your building, not mine. I don't know. I don't even know the layout, I'm like, okay, if you say so. Turns out it was in the basement.
All right. Thank you, salad dressing.
Blue cheese at that. Oh, I hate blue cheese. Oh, I hate blue cheese with a passion.
I think that might be a good place to wrap up. A happy story. Find the blue cheese.
All right. Still pays the same. I did give him some free deodorizing discs, though. So I felt bad, but.
And nothing had to die.
Nope, nothing had to die. I didn't have to stink up my van.
Therefore, this was a lively story.
Yep. Turns out well for me as long as they write a check.
All right. You want to wrap up?
I'll let you wrap up.
Aww.
It's been so long I forgot how to do it.
I love the way you wrap up.
There's a joke right there.
Well, this concludes another edition of the Service Guys podcast. If you like what you hear, give our podcast a rating and review on iTunes while iTunes still exists, and share it with a friend. Catch previous episodes of the podcast, guest episodes, and we hope to bring you more future episodes with interesting guests. We spend a whole lot of time talking about non-service related stuff, but it's still important nonetheless. It's happening in Lonnie's world, and if it happens in Lonnie's world, I want to hear about it. I'm sure you do too. Anyways, that's it. I'm Ruel Abadam, and
I'm Lonnie Beecham, and I want to tell you, get your life back to normal.
They'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It, Restoration.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? Hello.
Yep, there I am.
All right. Did you hit mute?
Yeah, I did. There's a whole swipe and tap and this and that. How's it going?
Fine. I'm actually kind of sitting for the rest of the day now.
Yay, sitting is awesome.
Yes and
no. Crazy.
Man, we haven't talked for ages.
Yeah, it's like we hate each other.
Yeah, I got a ton of stuff moving in my little bitty corner of the world.
I can only imagine. It's been a while. I mean, you've got stuff a lot going on with your mom. You're running your business, and then tornadoes are sweeping the state, or something like that.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, not much. Not much.
That's not true.
Work.
A ton of stuff I know I'm pretty sure a ton of stuff has happened. It's just that it's just been too hectic for you to even pinpoint exactly what and remember what they are.
Yeah, I can't remember last time we spoke, and then every day just kind of moves 100 miles an hour, and then in the world, just dealing with, I call it mama drama. I mean, for every one bit of good news, you get just kicked hard 5 steps back, and it's like, wow. Every day it's something.
Yeah.
It's something.
Yeah.
But all in all, I mean, girls are good, and wife is good, and went on vacation, got away for a little bit. My brother came in to see mom and visit with her for a few days, and I used that time to just kind of get away and decompress and not be on all the time, and just living one day at a time.
That's perfect. And your daughter's out of jail?
Yeah, that was only short-lived. Yeah, they both actually spent, my youngest spent in the same month, my youngest spent 2 days in ISS, and my oldest spent 1 day in ISS. And these are both straight A, just good girls. And yeah, my youngest had spent 2 days in ISS for hitting a girl, but the girl just kept going and going and going. And
wow.
in this zero tolerance world, it just they don't tolerate nothing. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Meet you out of the parking lot after school.
That's how we did it.
Oh yeah, it was good. I mean, you let it run for a while, and then you break it up. It's kind of like a hockey game, right?
Well, to me, I was never that guy that wanted to break up the fights. I was like, yeah, get him.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't the guy that's going to kick him in the head when he's down, but I was like, yeah, get him. Oh, I wanted to see it go and go and go. I wasn't one of the guys going to break it up. But we all know I'm not exactly the nicest guy sometimes.
Yeah, on my end, no new mama drama on my end. That's good. Had a couple family trips down south. Ran a race. Or ran a run, not really a race. Been busy with work. Yes, it's
we're recording, but maybe I said we're recording. So on the job front, maybe you want to chat off of the mic. But I want to catch up on that one. I don't know what you know versus what you can share.
Yeah, I don't know. It all kind of blurs. What's on the mic and what's off the mic. So I got to be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to kick this thing off? And do you have a topic, or what are we doing today?
I guess we're winging it. I don't have a topic. We'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah. What was? Did I send you pictures of a dead animal?
Oh yeah.
Can't remember what that was.
It was a possum. It looked like when we talked about it last recording.
I don't think we did. I don't think we've recorded since.
You're right. We didn't record. We talked about it, but we didn't record it. Record that conversation.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's wing it. I always have stories, whatever it is. I got work stories and family stories and whatever. I had a funny dead animal call yesterday. It was hilarious, actually.
Hey, you want to kick this one off? It's been a while since.
You kick it off. I'm just lethargic and just here, dude. Okay. Just existing.
This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production.